Bandit and Onyx were so excited when their daddy and his three sisters, Clarice, Lee, and Becky, decided to have a family reunion in December of 2022. The big event would be held at Cape Point Villas in Indian Rocks Beach, Florida. This would be the first time since December of 2004 when all the town's clan lives gathered in Orlando to celebrate Horton's 60th birthday. On Wednesday, December the 7th, Clarice and Hemp arrived on a flight from Chattanooga, while Lee and Jim drove in from St. Louis. Becky and her husband Stan and their two dogs, Gracie and Bailey, arrived on Monday, December the 12th, after a short drive from Kissimmee, Florida. During our stay at the villas, we shared numerous family stories. For example, the early days of our lives living in Grenada on Line Street. I love the trio picture of Clarice, Lee, and me being in the lineup. Obviously, Clarice and Lee would have a big influence on my life during my formative years. Soon the conversation shifted to the days when we lived on Snyder Street and the fun we had playing baseball and other games with Bill and Ginger Bell from Jackson and other friends in the neighborhood. We also took trips with the Bells to the beaches in the Florida Panhandle, where Mama plastered us with Noxzema cream to protect us from the sun. I loved hearing stories of Grandmother Horton and Dan Dan, and some of our visits to their home on Margin Street. Characteristics of Grandmother was her stern and serious manner, and Dan Dan's love of black coffee and hand-rolled cigarettes. Our family often gathered at their home for Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. We shared stories of the love of having Dan Dan take us for rides in his Pontiac car. A special memory of mine was when he often took me to Dyer Kent Drugstore to purchase baseball cards for me, such as rookie cards of Stan Musial, Mickey Mantle, and Ted Williams. They were thrown away by Mama due to my neglect of her warning the cards would be thrown away if I didn't get them. Shashing, shashing went the cash register that didn't deposit the dollars that could have been received from the sale of those precious cards. Around 1955, we moved into our refurbished colonial home at 501 Margin Street. Memories we recall there included the scrumptious lunch meals our cook Essie made for us. We enjoyed her specialties, which included numerous southern veggies, fried chicken, pot roast, and delicious desserts that tasted second to none. Throughout our high school days at John Rundle High School, Clarice, Lee, and I walked home from school to gather around our big round kitchen table for lunch. At the time, Becky was 10 years younger than me, but was often present with us. She was so cute and had the most beautiful smile. Spot Towns, my best friend growing up, was a mainstay at our home. He lived outside, and every place I went, Spot followed along. He went to high school on his own and walked outside and parked himself outside whichever class I was attending at the time. Spot also had perfect attendance, attending First Presbyterian Church each Sunday, where he would be just wagging his tail on the front steps of the Sunday school entrance as we arrived at the church. He also promptly registered each Sunday in the church's attendance book. First Presbyterian Church played a significant role in the lives of each of us. Some of the memories of old shared by each Towns member were: Becky shared her love of her dogs, Gracie and Bailey, and the joy they had brought her and Stan. Stan shared his memory of his grandmother, who had a grill in Chicago, which was in the neighborhood of Al Capone, and the numerous times her grill was damaged by trucks running into her building. I shared my experiences of flying my Cessna 310 to Guadalajara, Mexico in October 1981 for a largemouth bass fishing trip. It was quite a harrowing experience, to say the least. Renee shared stories of our experiences through the years with our adoption of 8 Great Pyrenees. Lee shared her experiences of visiting East Berlin to hear a concert by a good friend and distant relative, Pat Sage. Jim shared his experience of having Mama visit them in St. Louis and how she would promptly leave the room whenever a visitor would arrive at the door. Hamp shared how he felt so loved and accepted by the town's family. He also mentioned the stuffed bobcat that awaited anyone who entered the back door of our home on Margin Street, and the big sailfish caught by Daddy that found its final resting place on the back wall in Trusty's clothing store in Grenada. Finally, Clarice brought the house down as she told the story of how Daddy stormed off immediately from the Dallas home when he learned she was once again pregnant with Jennifer. Mama and Bluebell quickly followed in tow so they would not have been left behind. What wonderful 8 days of celebration we all had. We may all be in our sunset years of life, but the memories we have built together will forever be ingrained in our memory banks. We give praise and glory to God.